Hello, and welcome to Property Gamechangers live on the Property Gamechangers Facebook page. We are back. Join us for a cup of coffee or tea or wine, I usually say, as we talk to people who've changed the game in property, celebrating the power of ethical property investment to change lives and inspiring each other to believe bigger, to be bolder, and to be game changers. And our property game changers this evening are Sanchia, Vincent, and Tanisha Rose Miller. They are the co-founders of Miller and Vincent Properties, a property management and investment company in Derby and Long Eaton. They work with landlords and investors to provide high-quality shared homes for professionals here in the UK. And they also partner with Habitats for Humanity to build houses for families living in poverty all around the world. Passionate about playing it forward, they help people to get started in property, and I'm really excited to get to know more about them tonight. So welcome to Property Game Changers, Sanchia and Tanisha.
Thank you so much. I know we come as a pair, we come as a duo, and you've even got our names mixed up. That's how much you see us so much. Sanchia Miller and Tanisha Vincent.
Did I do it wrong, did I? In the intro?
Yes, but it's okay because
Don't worry about it.
People sit together all the time. We've had so many combinations. We've had Sanchia. We've had you name it. We've had it. But it's all good. It's all good.
So we've got Sanchia Miller and Tanisha Rose Vincent. Yes, so we're properly introduced now. Let's start off. Tell us a bit about how you got started in property. What was your background before and how you got started?
Okay, so getting started in property, I previously worked as a lawyer, working ridiculous hours, and I knew that I didn't want to retire as a lawyer. So I just started dabbling in different businesses, exploring different options, and then I stumbled across property in terms of different free trainings that I used to see online, and I used to just think, "Ooh, is that for me? Could I do that?" So then I just started to just to explore the options. I started getting educated and investing in my property education, and it kind of went from there, really. And then that's how Tanisha and I connected through property networking, and the rest is history, essentially. So that was a very high level in terms of how I got started in property. I literally had a thought of, gosh, I don't want to retire as an old lawyer. I want to do something different. That was me.
And what was it like for you, Tanisha?
Quite similar, except for I was working as a project manager in the printing industry initially. And, like Sanchia, probably, well, maybe like yourself, Stephanie, I thought that there was more for me out there than working 9 to 5 for somebody else. I knew I wanted to have my own business, and it got to the point where I would, I've said this to a couple of people, I would go to a coffee shop every single weekend and sit there and just think, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? I want my own business. What should it be in? And I always enjoyed property. My mother is in the property industry as well. And I'd, dabbled in property working as, showing people around nice big houses for sale and things like that. And then I thought, right, well, it's property. I love it. Got educated, met Sanchia.
Brilliant. And that's a great way to start off. We were just talking because I obviously work with my sister Nikki, and I'm the eldest, so although people think I'm the youngest. And I asked you what the vibe was because I noticed it's usually Sanchia and Tanisha. And is it because one of you is the eldest? But then you said, what did you say, Tanisha?
I said it goes in bossy order. First.
Well, yeah, I can't deny that. I can't deny it. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, in between me and Nikki, I don't know if she would disagree, but I think she's the bossy one, actually.
We'll get her to tell the story soon.
Yeah, we'll let her tell the story. But I arrived on the planet first, so that's why I get to go first. But you met each other and you started working together. How has that gone? Because like any partnership, does it sort of, how do you get on together? Is there ups and downs, or is it kind of easy?
Well, let's spill the beans now then. So now that you've asked. But no, to be honest, as we said, we got educated separately and then we connected via property networking. So we only went to the same networking event a couple of times and we thought, let's go into business together. And when I share the story with people, they think, "Oh, you crazy? Like you don't know this person, and you're going to start a business." To be honest, we've been really blessed in terms of the business partnership that we've formed, and it's quite funny actually because we went to university at the same time. I think Tanisha was the year below me, so the same university. And when we talk now, we've got the same group of friends, but we never saw each other at university. Like we never knew each other at all. So it's quite strange in that way, but. How it works, I think it works great. We've got different skill sets. There's been a couple of fights, but we won't talk now. We've got different skill sets that complement each other. So I think it works great. We're 3 years in, we're still standing.
Yeah. What's the skill sets? What's the difference, Tanisha?
Sorry, I think I might have broken up a little bit then. Sorry, Stephanie.
I was just saying, what is the skill set? Who specialises in what?
So I think I'm more creating, I don't want to use the word systems, but when you have to use different programs and create things like landing page type of things. And when it comes to the property, our business, Miller and Vincent Properties, I deal with the tenants. So I deal with the things and things like that. Whereas Sanchia does the property management, deals with the landlords. And I would say is a much better speaker than me.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. I noticed you did some speaking training recently.
Yes, we did. It was January this year.
Yeah, feels like a lifetime ago, but it's a few months ago.
Yeah.
But would you recommend speaker training?
Yes.
I loved it. I really loved it. What's incredible is that for me, I get quite flustered when I have to talk to new people and things like that. So even a 5-minute, stand up there for 5 minutes and speak on a topic sounded like a stretch without notes. So when we got...
Oh, what a shame. Sanchias. Sorry,
to the end of...
You're breaking up.
Is that my...
Yeah, your internet's coming in and out. So shall I talk to Sanchia and maybe either come off and come back in or try the opposite of whatever connection you've got now?
Okay, all right, I'll try it. It says I've got full signal, but I'll give the other one a go.
Okay. So we were just talking about speaking. I was surprised to hear that Tanisha feels flustered because I saw you recently on a Zoom call where you were making a presentation and it was really engaging and high energy, and I thought it was brilliant. And so I would never, and also you sing, so I never would think that you would get flustered at all. And recently I saw a video, Sanchia, where you're singing as well.
Well, that was just the spirit of the moment, come out to the face of fear and just do it.
So the HMO Property Duo you're known as, but also it could be the singing duo as well.
There we go.
Miller and Vincent, it could be property and music. I'm determined that we're going to see this at a property event soon.
We'll see which one brings in the most money. Sorry? We'll see which one brings in the most money.
Yeah.
Multiple streams.
Okay. Well, let's get into the property. We've had a little diversion. Let's go into the property. So you decided to obviously work together as a business partnership. You got the training. You knew what you wanted. Tell us about your first actions.
Okay, so we got trained. And it got to the point where we met up, we'd finished our training, we met up at a coffee shop and said, right, I think we need some more help. So we then went down the mentorship path. We had a mentor for a year. The initial thoughts was to go down the purchasing of properties, purchasing HMOs route, and that didn't quite work out. You know, you learn a lot along the way. You learn what you like doing as well and what you don't particularly like doing. So we had a mentor for a year, and then we went down the rent-to-rent route, you know, constantly educating ourselves as well. I also left my job and started working as a lettings manager for experience at a HMO portfolio management company. And it all went from there, really. So it was about education, mentoring, courses, and then, you know, when you start bringing on properties, on the ground experience as well. And there's nothing better than that.
Yeah. So Sanchia, tell us about your first property. Can you tell us about that? Yeah.
So the first property, we started our marketing, and from our first batch of letters, we actually acquired our first property. So it was a landlord that literally, because when you're new to property and you've got all this property education, you think, yes, I know what I'm doing. And you send out your marketing, and a landlord calls you, thinking, I don't want to answer this call. So when he called, you know, we were like, sometimes we don't even answer the call. Like when we first started, we would get our thoughts together and then answer the call. But yes, within the first minute or so of speaking to this landlord, he was like, this is the code for the door, this is the address, go in and do what you've got to do, basically. So that was our first property from our first batch of letters. So that was a blessing. So that was a 6-bed HMO that we acquired when we first started. It contained a renovation, which was about 15k renovation. Wow. It was vacant, completely vacant, for about 6 months before we took it on. We renovated it and then fully tenanted it, and now we're still managing that property today. So that's our first baby.
Yeah.
And 15k is a big renovation. Did you pay for that yourselves, Tanisha, or did the landlord pay?
So our first one was an interesting one, because initially we thought it was going to be a rent-to-rent / lease option, purchase lease option hybrid. But it ended up falling through with the landlord solicitors. I don't think, they knew exactly how to deal with lease options. And it fell through. So we thought, right, you know, initially we were due to put in £7,000. The landlord was going to be putting in £7,000. We wouldn't have put in that much, but it's because we knew at that time we were going to have, you know, the option to purchase the property as well. But once it fell through, we thought, right, we have to get creative here. And we went back to the drawing board. We were thinking, you know, we hadn't started the refurb at that point, but we'd built a great relationship with the landlord. So it actually ended up coming on as a traditionally managed model. And the landlord ended up putting in, it went up £1,000, so £15,000. And he put in all the funds, and we did the refurb for him.
That's brilliant. It's a great deal for him, really. Did you charge for the refurb also for managing it?
So we recouped the costs for that on the back end. So to help the landlord out, we recouped it on the back end, because it was significant cost. I mean, we put in, it was knocking through doors, putting in 2 en-suites, changed the kitchen. That all literally the whole place was unrecognizable by the end. Yeah.
And is that one on your website?
Yes.
Yes, there are pictures on there.
Yeah, so people can see that, because I've seen some of your properties. They look amazing, and they can see that at millerandvincentproperties.com if you want to go and have a look at some of the properties that the ladies are talking about. So you did your first one. It ended up to a standard management, HMO management arrangement. And where did you go on from there?
So we had a bit of a magpie syndrome. Do you know when you see all them? Is it the magic penny syndrome, where you see lots of shiny pennies? You're like, oh, I'll have that one. Oh, I'll have that one.
Yeah.
So we went on to grow a tenant find business. So we were contacted by one of the largest HMO managing agents in Derby, and we were asked to basically help them fill their rooms. So they had void rooms. So by recommendation, they contacted us, and we basically helped them with tenant find services. So that was quite a successful business, but it took a lot of time. It took a lot of our time from focusing on actually working with investors and bringing on more of our own properties. But it was a good experience because we got to see a lot of the market, the different conditions of big properties, and we got to make some good connections whilst doing it. So it was good while it lasted. And then tenant find, we then brought in a rent to rent. Tanisha wants to talk about that. Service accommodation.
Yeah, so of course we're thinking HMOs management. Tenant find business. What can we do next? So no, we came across this beautiful period property in Nottingham, and it was being run as a service accommodation unit, rent to SA. And we thought, why not? Let's try that. So we ended up taking on that property, and it was beautiful, and it did really well, actually. We managed it for about 8 months, and then we just thought, by then we'd taken on another couple of properties, HMOs, and we just thought, look, we're trying to do too much here. Let's niche down back into what we know we're good at, what we enjoy doing as well, because that's fun, what you enjoy doing, if you're going to build a business. So, as much as we enjoyed managing the SA unit, it took a lot of time again, and it's very different to a HMO. You've got when a guest is phoning you at 1 o'clock in the morning saying they've broken their key in the door, or all sorts. So we ended up sourcing that property on, which was the first time we sourced on a property as well. So that was brilliant. And then we went on to bring on some more properties. No, we let go of some properties and then brought on some more.
Brilliant. I think service accommodation is interesting because obviously it can be such high revenue, but sometimes the profit is very similar, or oftentimes, from what I've seen, it's very similar to what you can get for an HMO, but it's a lot more time intensive. But it is great because you can source an SA so much more easily than you can source an HMO. So I suppose it's horses for courses. So you decided to rationalise your business, get rid of the SA element of things, and build up on the HMO side. And I know now that you've got a lot of other things going on. So do you want to tell us about that, Sanchia?
So the other thing, so in terms of, what have we got going on?
The HMO Duo, I was thinking, and
yes, okay. So yes, in terms of the HMO Duo, so we are now sharing our knowledge with other people. So people who are new to property, like we were 3.5 years ago, who are wanting to take that next step into property management, who may not necessarily have the deposits to pay for a property, just sharing the strategies that we use and how we got started with property management through HMOs. So that's what we do now. We've built a great community of people who are new to properties in our HMO Property Duo Facebook group, and we just share daily content within the group, and I really enjoy it. Actually, I really enjoy seeing other people's successes, answering people's questions, because they're the questions I was asking, how many years ago, and trying to find the answers for.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I've seen some of the training and materials that you have, and they're just phenomenal. So people can get in touch with you at the HMO Property Duo Facebook group. And we've also had Noreen commenting, if you want to say, I mean, who did you train with? Or would you
Hi Noreen. I initially trained with Elite Legacy. So when I started, I trained with them. I think they've recently changed their name to something else. So I trained with them. Tanisha trained with Progressive Property, and I've also done some training with Progressive Property as well. So that's who we trained with initially.
Yeah, and well, I don't know whether you want to say anything else, but I'd take it not if I should just leave it there if you haven't said anything more. So we know that a lot of people are nervous to get started in property, or might feel that they've got obstacles to overcome. So what are the things that you would say to people getting started in property, the advice that you might give to them about how to get started?
I would say you're never going to feel ready to start. You just have to do it. It's never going to be the right time to start. You just have to get started. And it's one of the biggest, challenges is feeling comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, because you're going to feel it for many, many years, because, you start bringing on some properties, and then you start looking at bigger projects, and then you're uncomfortable again. And then you start acquiring new skills, and then you're uncomfortable again. So it's just having faith in yourself, because, you can do it and you can get started. And however, if you're feeling slightly apprehensive, that is totally normal. And pretty much everybody felt that when they got started as well. So that's what I would say about getting started.
And I would probably add on to that is to turn your thoughts into action. There's so many people that you speak with and say, "Oh, I'm thinking about property," and that's, it's a good place to start thinking, but you actually have to turn it into action, whether that's attending a networking event or networking online, or whether it's joining a particular group and asking questions, reaching out to a particular person, completing a training course, or reading a book. Like, just take action, because regardless of how much education you have, unless you do something about it, you're just not going to go anywhere. So take action. Action.
That's brilliant advice. And you always have such great energy, and I really love seeing you, popping up on social media, because you give both sides of it, challenges, insights, and but can you tell us what do you love about being in property?
Tanisha, do you want to go with that one?
It's literally what Sanchias started talking about. I find it is property related, but it's also the psychology behind it. So just elaborating a little bit more, I find it absolutely fascinating that at the beginning, you've just got a thought, and then you register your company. All of a sudden, you have a company that's, you brought it into reality. And then, you bring on a property. You're not sure if you can bring on a property. And when you're starting out, you don't know, will landlords trust me? And then you're persistent. And then you bring on your first property. And then you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure if I can source it on, because other people do it. I've heard about it. I'm not sure if I can do that. And then you source it on. And then you realise how just your own belief is literally all you need. And as we grow our business and we help landlords, that's what I find absolutely fascinating. Aside from that, moving into, our actual property management business, I love meeting people. I love, taking tenants to new properties and helping them find the right property, the right room, and then when they give nice reviews, it's lovely, isn't it? Because you've helped somebody. And that's what I love, as well as the Cambodia stuff. But I'll let you talk about that, Sanchia.
So what, Cambodia now? Should we talk about Cambodia now? Or
whatever.
We were due to go to Cambodia beginning of this year, but that was rescheduled due to the whole coronavirus. So we were doing fundraising and campaigns, and we raised well over our budget, and we were so excited to go. 11 p.m. The night before we were due to fly out, we printed our boarding passes and we checked our emails, and it's been rescheduled. It was devastating. However, all the monies that we fundraised, they're still sitting in the pots, and we're just waiting to hear back from the charity to see when we can fly out to another country and to build a house. So the reason we were going was to build a house for a family that lived in substandard living, in a hut essentially. and to build them a decent place to live. So I think it was a family of 9. So yeah, that was going to be incredible, and I'm sure it will be when it's rescheduled.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. What date were you due to fly out?
I think it was the end of January, was it?
31st of January. 31st of January, was it?
Yeah, 31st. I think it was the end.
Oh, right. And they were doing that because of Corona?
Yes.
Yeah, because they had the foresight then, because obviously that's the end of January and we didn't lock down here in the UK until 2 months later. But
Cambodia is right next to, China, and, it's all in that area. So me and Tanisha, we were panicking. So in the UK,
in the news,
no one was speaking much about it on the news.
No.
We were asking family and friends saying, do you think we should go? And everyone's just like, yeah, just go. And we were thinking,
it's nothing.
We're flying to the war zone.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And the other part of it is it's great to be able to give back, and that's one of the things that I talk about with Property Game Changers, is that with property you get to change the game in your own life, in your family's life, in your community, and what you're doing, you're changing the game in the world, and it's so great to see that you're doing that, and I'm really excited for when you get to actually go out once everything clears up from Corona.
It's true. Just to say what you were just about to say in terms of Property Game Changers, like, I probably would never have flown out to another country to build a house. So although it's something which I think is a good thing to do, I probably would never have done it if I was still in my 9-to-5 day job. In fact, we started our business, and it just opens your horizons. It just gives you so much more interest, so much more motivation to do stuff. And it's just fabulous. That's definitely something that's really stemmed from the business and allowed us to get involved in.
Yeah, it's like Tanisha was saying, that you see that you can do all these things that you didn't know that you could do, and then it makes you more want to do other things that you didn't know you can do. And so we've talked about that. And what do you think has been the most challenging thing about your property? I know people don't like the term property journey so far.
For me, it's constant learning. Even if you're not doing a specific program or workshop course, you're constantly, because when you start out, it's just Sanchia and I doing everything: marketing, accounts, videos, production, building websites, building pages. So you're constantly having to learn everything, programs, how to use different sites. And I think that is, for me, the most challenging, because you don't ever get to feel, I'm sure we will at some stage, once we bring on a team.
Start outsourcing more.
But it's just a lot to do. But then again, moving away from that slightly, I've never laughed so much in my life.
Because I'm so funny. I'm so funny.
She's a little bit funny, but also I enjoy what I do. So yeah, that's what it is for me.
Yeah, no, great answer. Thanks, Tanisha. What about you, Sanchia? What have you found the most challenging since starting?
Biggest challenge? Sacrifice. It does take a lot of sacrifice to grow a business. Missing out on family times at times. So I know the whole reason why I left the corporate world as a lawyer was so I could have that time, money, freedom. But it does come with sacrifice at the beginning. So you don't get it straight away. It comes with sacrifice. So I think being selfish, if that makes sense, and being disciplined to say, no, I need to do this. I need to get this done. I need to work for this certain period of time so that I can grow the business and then, and enjoy, essentially. So I have quite a big family. It's just about balancing it all, but count it all joy.
Have you got 15 siblings?
Sorry?
Have you got 15 siblings?
15? Why have you got 15 siblings?
I know Aaron has, so I just thought a big family has got a new.
Okay, mine's small. Mine's like 2.2. If you've got 15 siblings.
Yeah, 15.
No, I've just got 7.
7?
Yeah, 7 in total.
Medium now. You're now medium.
Good. Extra point for me.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about your journey so far and what you find challenging. What do you wish you'd known at the start?
What do we wish we knew? I would say that it doesn't when you go to these training courses, they sell the dream, and rightly so, because if they didn't, no one would ever buy. But in terms of the time, it takes time. Some people, they say they complete financial freedom 6 months, etc. But it does take time, and I think just knowing the sacrifice that you have to actually put in, that would have been a bit more of a reality check when I started. But yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. And what about what was it going to? Oh, do you want to answer that one? What do you wish you'd known at the start, Tanisha?
I think Sanchia answered that well. I would probably say something along the same lines.
Right, and coming into the close, what a book or podcast would you say has had the biggest impact on you?
I think it's called Millionaire Mindset. I think that's a book I've recently read, and that was good because that spoke about like your mindset and where it's come from in terms of money, where it stems from, and when you were younger, what sort of conversations were had around money, finances. How did your parents or your siblings discuss money? And it was interesting because we go into business, to help people and for money. And it's good to just sit and reflect and think, okay, well, what is my actual mindset when it comes to finances, wealth, and growing a business? So I thought that was an incredible book. I can't remember. I think it's something Eka. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, great book. I love it.
Great book. I've actually lost it. I think it's in Tanisha's boot somewhere. I think she's actually stolen the book from me.
I don't have it. She keeps asking for this book. I don't have it.
Sisters always say this. I've never seen it. No, it's not me. So it's like you're related.
Well,
right, didn't you see it? Didn't you know?
Okay, we've had a comment in. Starting young is amazing. Starting in this business, how do you get landlords and agents to do business with you? What do you say? And that's from Sam in London.
So how do you get landlords? Okay, so we market to landlords. We send direct to vendor letters, and it's all about the rapport that you build with them, really. And what when you're starting out, you think that you need to know all the answers and you need to be telling them what they want, but that's not true. What you want to do is literally get on the call or meet them face to face at in a coffee shop or wherever it is, and simply ask them, what is it that you need? What's your ideal scenario with your property? And then listen and take notes. Because once you know how the models work, rent to rent, traditional management, whatever models you're using, you then can use those models to solve their problems. But you need to know what their problems are. So that's the main thing. And as soon as you can solve, their problems and you can provide them value, solving problems is providing them value, they want to work with you. Estate agents, we haven't gone ourselves down the estate agent route with rent to rent. And of course, with traditional management, we are their direct competitors. So we haven't gone down that route. In terms of bringing on properties on rent to rent or traditional management, we have when we worked with them to help them fill their own rooms when they had a lot of voids, and they literally just contacted us because we were filling their landlords' rooms anyway. So that's all I can say with regards to that. But the main thing is just finding out what they want.
Brilliant advice for business and for life. If you can find out what people want and give it to them, you can have a great relationship. So before we sort of end today, is there anything that you feel that you'd just like to share with people that maybe I haven't asked you about so far?
Tanisha? No, what I would say is connect with us, guys. We like to connect with people. So for anyone that's watching on here, connect with us in the HMO Property Duo group. You've got our website if you want to check that out and get in contact with us. But for anyone who's on the call and is wanting to start out in property, just do it. You must have your why. You must know why you want to start. So if you want to leave your day job, if you just want extra income, if you just want time to spend with your family, understand why you want to do it and do it. And regardless of how old you are, if you are young, if you're slightly mature, it doesn't matter. Just make a decision and do it, because the world we're in right now is a little bit unpredictable. So if you can secure yourself in some way, whether that's starting a business or whatever dream or passion you've got, just go for it, guys.
Yeah. Very well said. Exactly what I was going to say.
It saves you. Yes. So do connect with Sanchia and Tanisha, your HMO Property Duo on Facebook. And I must say, you have a great, profiles on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'm sure you're on all of them, but I mainly see on Facebook and Instagram. So thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing your story and inspiring people with what you're doing and what you've achieved in such a short time.
Thank you for having us. We love you. We think you're amazing.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching and for listening. And do connect with Sanchia and Tanisha, your property duo. And I will see you next week. But for now, it's bye from Sanchia. And bye from Tanisha.
See you later.
And bye from me. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.